welcome you all. Let us start this Yatra 2022 with lighting a lamp. Lighting a lamp means bringing wisdom and bringing light. How light dispels darkness, and let the wisdom dispels our ignorance. Representing that, we are going to light a lamp. I'm going to chant a mantra which states, I will explain also in English. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amurdam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Please lead us from unreal to real. Please lead us from darkness to light. Please lead us from death to immortality. Peace, peace, and peace. Let me light the lamp.
वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्र वस्त्रावृता या वीणा वरदण्ड या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्मच्युत शंकर प्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेष जाड्यापहा हरिः Namaste and a very good morning to you all. I would like to begin our yatra today by offering a bhajan to all our gurus here and elsewhere. Gurus who shower upon us their unconditional love, blessings, and gurus who guide us on our journey to physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. This bhajan beautifully describes the qualities, the divine qualities of an ideal guru, and also tells us the subtle yet very powerful internal transformation that we go through when we come across such a guru. साधो ऐसा ही गुरु भावे साधो ऐसा ही गुरु भावे राग रंग का भर भर प्याला राग रंग का भर भर प्याला पीवे और पिलावे साधो ऐसा ही गुरु भावे साधो परमहंस गुरु अंश रूप जब परमहंस गुरु अंश रूप जब हृदय बीच विराजे परमहंस गुरु अंश रूप जब हृदय बीच विराजे सात सुरों की सात सुरों की बानी मेरी सात सुरों की बानी मेरी ओंकार 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 सात सुरों की बानी मेरी ओंकार धुन गावे साधो ऐसा ही गुरु भावे साधो ऐसा ही गुरु भावे
Thank you, Masami ji. Always a pleasure to hear your melodious singing. Just in case you don't know her, Masami Shah is from Thousand Oaks, California. She holds a Sangeet Visharad degree in Indian classical vocal, a degree one earns after 7 years of intense training. She further explored the depths of classical music under the guidance of late Shrimati Lakshmi Shankar ji and went through years of training in light music and performing arts under various renowned musicians. She says that bhajans and classical spiritual are her favorite form of music when it comes to performing. Thank you, Masami ji. Good morning, everyone. Namaskar and welcome. This is Yatra 2022. My name is Jagmohan Bajaj. I am a student of Savriji. It is my great pleasure to be the moderator of today's event. Now, for reasons we are all aware of, with everyone's safety in mind, this year's event is once again virtual. And we are fully expecting our program to be in person next year. Today's program will go on till about 12:30 for the agenda that you have all seen, with several featured presentations. To avoid any electrical/Wi-Fi interference, you will all be muted during the program and all videos will be turned off. The exceptions, of course, being the host, the co-hosts, and the speakers. On the upper right-hand side of your Zoom screen, you will see an option for gallery or speaker view. Please choose speaker view. This way you will be able to see the presenter and the presentation on most of the screen. We fully expect that presentations will invoke some questions in your mind. Therefore, we have allotted time for 2, perhaps 3 questions at the end of each feature presentation. As questions come to mind, please send your questions using the chat box located at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We will read your questions from the chat box and the speaker will address your questions. If any of you have any additional questions, please post them in the chat box or email them to Sabriji. We will post the questions and the answers on the Organic Mind website. On your chat box, also look out for some useful handout material that will be added during the program. In addition, you should be able to use the chat box to bring to our attention anything that may not be going right, like if the sound is not coming through or the video is choppy. You can also use the chat box to give us your feedback. One more thing, we would really like to get some reaction for all of you attending today's event. Since you are all Zoom muted, here's what you need to do. On the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you will see an icon that says Reactions. Click on that. If you like the program, and we hope you do, please click on the thumbs up or the clapping of the hands to show us that you appreciate our efforts in putting together today's event. Thank you. With that, enjoy today's Yatra 2022 program. To get things started, I will ask Rupaji to say a few words and to introduce the founder of The Organic Mind, the organization responsible for today's program.
Namaste to all and a very good morning. I extend my thanks to Sabriji and Mausamiji for salutations to Lord Ganesha and our gurus to bless our yatra of inner journey. We pray to them to become the source of our enlightenment. I, Rupa, on behalf of the Organic Mind, warmly welcome you to our annual Inner Journey or Yatra 2022. I am very excited and pleased to greet you all who took time to join us from your very busy schedule. We all sadhakas of Organic Mind sincerely care about your well-being, natural health, and inner divinity. We believe that we are in charge of us and who we are today. Organic Mind's true purpose and philosophy revolves around you, which is building and preserving your physical, emotional, and spiritual health. We understand that shunning compulsive thinking will help us to live a happy and healthy life. Our accomplished and esteemed professional gurus, medical practitioners, and spiritual masters are here with us today to provide tools, techniques, knowledge, and practical skills to boost our inner immunity, as well as give clarity to our thoughts on well-being and inner divinity. We sincerely feel that their guidance will help us to have a smooth sailing in the rough waters of this terrible pandemic and unhealthy traits that are gorging our lives. Going forward, I would like to say a few words about our mentor, navigator, teacher, or guru, Sabari Nathan Govindan. He is a true embodiment of a karmic yogi, a devoted husband, father of 2, a teenager daughter, and a 6-year-old son, both challenging. Professionally, he is a software engineer and project manager working in a reputed multi-million dollar company. He is a propeller to our spiritual journey or inner yatra. As a navigator to our organic mind group, he began this journey about 7 years ago when he realized the true meaning of enlightened lifestyle. On his inner calling and his acknowledgement to his parents, pious parents, he went back to India to study, research, and practice the life of a true yogi in an ashram, and then returned with a deep knowledge to practice spiritualism and be with us. His passion nowadays is to heal the community, society, and the world around him through his organic mind satsangs. In spite of this material world around him, he believes in simple, disciplined yogic life, which he has achieved through meditation, pranayam, yoga asanas, spiritual practices, and a true bhakti to his divine. We sadhakas take immense pride in being his companions on this style of living. On a humanitarian side, he's a philanthropist and has joined hands with a friend in India to help the homeless, children on the streets, and orphanages in many ways. Sabriji and ancient sages have always said that our monkey mind plays a funny role of controlling our lives, making us run towards a life of desires, which we know can create unhappiness and sometimes depression when unfulfilled. So let's not multiply our desires and live a life of conscious mindfulness. Thanks, Sabriji, and our esteemed presenters to present, guide, and rejuvenate us through their knowledge and experience wisdom. We hope you enjoy their presentations and take home the best. Thanks again and relax. Here is Sabriji, as we fondly call him. Sabriji.
Thank you, Rupaji, for your kind words. And Rupaji is my first student of the organic mind, and I'm very proud of of her and all my students. And I welcome you all, every one of you, for this Yatra 2022. And my simple and very humble thankfulness to all of you who are here with us today on this day. My gratitude to Swamiji Shivashankariyananda from Shivananda Ashram joining us today. Thank you, Ji, for accepting our invitation and coming here to share your wisdom and knowledge. And I also extend my gratitude to Lada Sriram, also known as Lada Iyengar, a holistic nutritionist with us, to share her wisdom, experience, and knowledge. Thank you, Ji, for coming here today with us. And our well-wisher, supporter, Dr. Usha Kantakar, with us to shed some knowledge and light and wisdom and research on the topic of the medical perspective of asana. So thank you, Ji, for being with us today, spending the valuable time, your valuable time with us. And I really extend my gratitude to all of you. And also I extend my gratitude to all my students and volunteers, especially Vinay Chabra. Ji, thank you so much for giving us your helping hand. He is from Caring Hand. Thank you, Ji. And all my level 1, level 2, and level 3 students, I really extend my gratitude, and especially to level 3 students who are the reason for today's program, which is coming to your home, and you can able to, comfortably see from there. And I extend my gratitude to them. Last but not least, my family, who are very good support for me and conduct these programs. I really thank them from my bottom of my heart. And also I extend my gratitude to Mosmisha, with us, sang a beautiful, soulful singing. Thank you, Ji, for coming and, be in the beautiful singing side, very divine songs. And also I thank and extend my gratitude to Paulumi Pandit, the Rangashri Dances of India, and her student Smriti Govindan for participating today, and they are showcasing Bharatanatyam for us. So I welcome and extend my gratitude to all of you, and thank you. Let's enter into this program. Before we invite our speakers, I thought I will spend some time to let you all know about what is Yatra and what is the organic mind and why we are here. So that will be good to give you a gist of the whole, summarize this whole event. Let me start with the story. It's all from the morning. We are all very serious about all these events. Let us start with the story here. There was a diamond merchant in a London city, and he has gone to a shop to buy a very precious diamond from the city, and he is returning to the Paris the same day through train. So he went and purchased that precious diamond from the shop. And of course, when there is a money involved, the thieves knows that who is buying what. And there was a thief in the London city who is ready to plan to snatch this diamond. So both of them boarded in the train, and the thief is following this young merchant to snatch that precious jewel. So he was waiting for an opportunity. So he got an opportunity. He started searching in his luggage and baggages. But for his surprise, he didn't find that precious diamond the thief is looking for to snatch out of him. It's not there in his luggages. It's not there in his baggages. So he was wondering where it is. He's a very experienced thief, though, in the London city, looking for the right time to snatch. So the merchant went to a quick nap. So he took that opportunity to search his coat pocket, search his wallet, all the other places. But for his surprise, he did not find the diamond from that young merchant. By the time the train arrived the Paris, station, both of them disembarked, but the thief curiosity went high. His experience is almost like the young merchant's age. So he went straight to the young merchant and asked him, you know what? I came to snatch the diamond you are carrying. I tried my best. In my entire career, I never encountered such a situation where I cannot find the diamond. Could you please tell me, where are you hiding this diamond? This is really bothering me. Now, that young merchant looked at the thief and smiled at him and told him, yes, I noticed you from the beginning. You are following me. I also noticed that you are boarding train with me. Then I thought, what is the best place to hide this diamond? Therefore, I slide the diamond to your own coat pocket. Would you mind hand over the diamond to me, please? Now, the thief got really shocked. He put his hand in his own coat pocket, pull out the diamond, and hand over to this young merchant. The moral of the story is the peace, grace, and joy we are looking for in the external world is not there. It is very close to us, closer than our breath. It is in close proximity within us. And this is the essence of message we would like to spread to the world, community, and our fellow humans, that the precious diamond, the preciousness you are looking for is not sold in the marketplace. It is not sold in the car dealers. It is not sold in the vacation spot. It is not sold in the Amazon shopping cart. It is very close to us. Look within. That is where you find this precious diamond. The organic mind is very clear to state that what is the problem and what is the solution. Yoga Sutra from the Indian scriptures very clearly stated that cessation of the mind is yoga, period. That means when you transcend your mind, you get that yoga empowerment. Yoga is not yoga asana. Yoga asana is a component of yoga. So I call the organic mind is a sutra or an aphorism or a formula where we are clearly stating that what is the problem and what is the solution. The problem is your mind. The solution is making it organic. How to make it organic? There are millions paths, million ways are there. Some people go to churches, some people go to temples, some people read holy books, some people practice yoga, meditation, pranayama. There are many methodologies. Some people go to mosque, some people read Quran, right? So there are million ways to achieve this peace, grace, and joy to stumbled upon. There are million ways. Yatra is here. It's an annual reminder for us to remind us that it is possible to bring awareness and consciousness to certain areas of our life to improve our immunity, improve our well-being, and invite the wellness to your doorstep. That's why Yatra has been cognized to ring a bell inside you when you remember Yatra. The Y represents yoga. Yoga means realizing that peace, grace, and joy is close to me, and I can align myself with that any point in time in my life. That realization is called yoga. How to achieve yoga? As I said, there are different paths are there. Bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, raja yoga, different paths are there. Based on your mental setup, you can choose any path you want. The A represents in Yatra is arogya. Arogya in Sanskrit means well-being. In today's world, we are fixing the problem after the effect. We are not living a lifestyle where there is no necessity for this easiness. So bring arogyam as the priority in your life. And T represents transformation. Today's life is compelling us to move from mind-based civilization to a heart-based civilization. Enough of mind. We need kindness, generosity, gratitude. That is what is required in your family, in your society, in your community. Be a kind person. So quit the mind-based civilization and adopt heart-based civilization. The R represents revival of grahasthashramam. The revival of grahasthashramam means bring wellness and yoga center at your own home. Bring the temple to your own home. Bring the Himalaya to your backyard. Why not? Revive the culture, adopt the yogic lifestyle. Therefore, the well-being, the grace, the joy, the peace is in your doorstep. They are all will be at your doorsteps. The A represents awakening from this illusion of life. Today, it's compelling us to move from compulsive thinking to a complete thinking. And that is what Yatra would like to bring and remind you. You all already know about this. Somebody has to remind you. And this is the reminder to start the year. And here in this Yatra 2022, we have a great speakers to bring these components and give you a wisdom and knowledge. Please make use of it. Don't just attend the program and say, wow, this is really good, and then move on. Take a note and take an action. If you change one thing in your life out of this event, that will be great. So our speakers, Swamiji Shivashankari Ananda from Shivananda Ashram, LA Ashram, she is here. She is going to talk about how to boost your prana. See, everybody talk about how to, take care of disease after the effect. Vaccine is required, booster is required, maybe, right? But how to not compromise your immunity, how to boost your immunity, that is more important too, so that you can fight against any viruses it may happen on the planet Earth. So improve your immunity and increase your immunity, and do not compromise your immunity. She is going to shed some light on how to boost your prana. Prana means life force. And Ladaji is here. She is going to talk about, she is a holistic nutritionist. With the simple food, how you can change your life, how you can heal your body, how you can bring such a beautiful thing in your life. Simply taking right food, right nutrients. If you eat food like a medicine, that means the food with the complete nutrients, then you don't have to take medicine like a food. Today world, you will be holding a handful of pills to put it inside. Put some light, put some attention, put some priority in the food area. She is going to shed her wisdom, knowledge, and her training, her skills here. She brought that for us. And Dr. Thakkar, Dr. Ushakan Thakkar is going to bring a perspective of medical perspective of Yogasana. If I tell you about, medical perspective or the Yogasana, it may be the intellectual knowledge need more explanation. Doctor may be the right person, authentic person to bring the medical perspective of Yogasana to you. So we have a great speakers, and we are also going to do some meditation. So you will be right away know that his meditation is very hard to do, how to do, and what is mind, what is thought. In a simple way, I will explain you later part of in the program. And we have a fantastic dance program, Shiva Panchakshram Bharatanatyam by Rangashri Dance of India and the student. So you will enjoy that as well. So next 2 hours, relax, enjoy, take a note, and take action as well. And thank you. And one more time, I welcome you all to Yatra 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabriji, for setting the stage for today's program, for energizing us, and for educating us on the thinking behind Yatra and the organic mind. We will now go on to the next featured presentation. Neeru Jain will introduce the speaker.
Thank you, Jagmohanji. It is my great pleasure to introduce our first speaker of the day, Lata Iyengar. Lata is a certified holistic nutritionist and has her interest rooted in functional medicine. She is passionate about healing the body with wholesome food. She works with clients who want to control and reverse metabolic disorders such as type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, blood pressure, thyroid, and digestive issues. She creates personalized meal plans and advocates proper lifestyle and environmental habits that are key factors in helping the body repair itself. This wholesome approach to treating chronic conditions involves addressing the root cause of the problem rather than just the symptoms of the disease. This method is what she believes enables the body to do its self-healing process efficiently. Lata currently works with a group of medical professionals in Irvine, also has her own practice in Newport Beach, California. Let's all welcome Lata Iyengar.
Thank you very much, Neeruji, for the wonderful introduction. A very good morning to everybody. Thank you, Sabriji, first of all, for inviting me to be part of Yatra 2022. I'm very happy to be part of this panel because while they are going to be talking about yoga, meditation, and mindfulness, I'm going to be talking about healing with food. And these two in combination is a good way somebody can begin their journey for well-being. I'd like to start today's talk with an Ayurveda proverb, which goes, when the diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. And when the diet is right, medicine is of no need. It is important for us to have proper foods, but it is also important to make sure that these foods get properly assimilated in our body, which is why it's a good idea for us to have traditional or conventional foods, because our cells have memory, which is being passed on to us over generations. And when we have food that these cells can recognize, then the body will be able to absorb all of its goodness. A good example is quinoa versus millets. Quinoa is an ancient grain, but to most of our physiology, it is new. Now, if you like the effects of quinoa, a good alternative, if not better, are millets. Because even if your parents or grandparents haven't had millets, somebody in your ancestral line would have had these as their staple, and they would have passed on this processing information to you through your genes.
Lataji, there's no sound.
The lignans, at least for, I think my connection is stable. I hope people can hear me. So you need to soak the...
You're good, you're good.
Thank you, Ji. So you need to soak your millets at least 6 to 8 hours before you cook it. Only then the lignin compound will come out of the millets. Now, same thing with rice. Please choose hulled rice because hull has very good bioactive compound and fiber. But again, you need to soak the rice, hulled rice, at least 1 hour before you cook it. That's when the hull will loosen out of the grain, and then your body will be able to absorb it better. Same thing with vegetables. Now, there are some vegetables that you can have raw, and some have to be cooked in a certain way so that the compound in them can come out. A good example is cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. Now, these vegetables have a compound called sulforaphane in them. Sulforaphane is a very good antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory, but there are only 2 ways the sulforaphane comes out of the vegetable. Now, the first one is called a cut and hold, where you cut the vegetable and you leave it outside sitting in the counter for about 45 minutes, and that will bring out the sulforaphane. If you don't have the time for that, what you can do is in your pan, if you can put some oil and put some mustard seeds in it and allow the mustard seeds to crackle. Now, the compound that comes out of the crackled mustard seeds will react with the sulforaphane in the vegetable and bring it out. So this way, there are a lot of vegetables with a lot of interesting and important compounds. So you cannot say that one vegetable is more important than the other. These days I see a lot of people choosing kale and thinking that it's the most superior of the greens. Nothing to take away from kale. Kale is a very good source of vitamin C, vitamin K, and calcium. But spinach, on the other hand, it might not have the same compounds in that quantity, but it's an excellent source of iron, magnesium, potassium, and zinc. So you need both of these. You need spinach and you need kale because body needs both of these nutrients for a lot of its processes. The only thing is it's a good idea to try and buy organic vegetables, because these days agriculturists are using a lot of chemicals, herbicides and pesticides, so that they get more yield, or they want their produce to come out looking nice. But these are all very toxic. An example is glyphosate. Glyphosate is a good weed killer that they use, but it's a known human carcinogen, and you don't want that in your body. Although EPA and FDA have regulated how these farmers have to use glyphosate, it is still being used. It's not completely banned. So you want to make sure that you buy organic vegetables and fruits. Now, talking about fruits, kindly try to have your fruit as the whole fruit instead of juicing it, because when you juice it, you're losing its peel, the pulp, the fiber, and a lot of its goodness. Plus, if you have to make a cup of orange juice, you probably have to pulp maybe 3-4 oranges, and that's a lot of sugar. A lot of people think that fruit sugar is okay to have, but no. Fructose, fruit sugar, the only organ in the body that can actually metabolize fructose is the liver, and liver converts it to fat. So kindly watch out for fruits that have excess sugar and keep them for occasional use. The most important thing here is to make sure that you have a variety of fruits and vegetables, because our gut microbiome thrives with diversity. Now, the gut microbiome is a community of microorganisms that live in your gut. Now, we have a lot of microbes in our body all over, but the gut is the place that houses the maximum number of microorganisms. Of course, you have the good and the bad ones. You obviously have to make sure that you have more of the good microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, virus. All of these microorganisms need to live in a good balance or a symbiosis, because if you have a good balance of these gut microorganisms, then you know for a fact that you have very good immunity and you have low body inflammation. And these days, body inflammation seems to be the root cause for a lot of metabolic disorders like obesity, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, blood pressure, thyroid issues, heart disease, kidney disease, and even some cancers. So you want to make sure that you have low body inflammation. And a good way to do that is to keep your gut healthy. And again, for that, you should have a variety of fruits and vegetables. Actually, when you look at these microorganisms in your body, if you take the gene count, human genes we only have about 20 to 25,000. But if you take the total gene count of all of these microbes that's there in your body, it goes up to trillions. So it's only fair to say that we are all a structure that houses a lot of these microorganisms, and they have their own things to do, rather than saying that we are a human structure with organs. Now, talking about genes, I'd like to mention something here. When you have certain foods, you are influencing certain genes in your body to be activated for the better or the worse. Now, this is called epigenetics. And how this works is when there is a certain impact in your physiology, this impact actually changes the way your genes are chemically functioning. Now, it doesn't change the sequence of the genetic alphabet, but it actually has the ability to change the way the DNA is responding, whether it gets turned on, whether it's expressed or not. And this is a long-term effect. Let me give you an example. A client of mine came to me a few weeks back and mentioned that he got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And he said he was not at all surprised that he got it, because he said his father had it, and he said his grandfather had it. So he said it was just natural that even his body developed that condition. So I explained to him about epigenetics. And I told him that because he had a doubt whether he was carrying this diabetic gene, had he taken efforts earlier on in his life to make sure that he was on a low carb diet, kept the sugars away, practiced good lifestyle and environmental habits, kept his stress levels low. Now, had he done all of this, he definitely could have kept that diabetic gene suppressed in his body. And had he passed on this suppressed gene to his child, and if the child imbibes the same kind of lifestyle as the father, then the child will also keep that diabetic gene suppressed. And if this goes on over generations, scientists have predicted that the stimulus that actually gives rise to this DNA will eventually fall off over generations. So I think we should stop blaming our genes for our health conditions today and take responsibility, because we do have control. And I'm talking with regard to metabolic disorders. We do have the control, and we can make sure to keep those genes suppressed in our body. Now, talking about anti-inflammation, we have some good anti-inflammatory spices like cinnamon, clove, star anise, ginger, turmeric, black pepper. All of these have really good anti-inflammatory compounds. Try to use turmeric and black pepper in combination, because black pepper increases the curcumin absorption to 200%. And curcumin is the anti-inflammatory compound in turmeric. So try to use these two in combination. Now, talking about fats. Fats have unfortunately gotten such a bad reputation. Yes, it is important to keep unhealthy fats away, like polyunsaturated fats, trans fats, refined oils, vegetable oils, corn oil. All of these must be kept aside. But it is very important to include good amounts of good fats in your body, like good fats like ghee, coconut oil, avocado, olive oil. Now, all of these are good fats, and body definitely needs certain amount of good fats for a lot of its processes. For example, vitamins A, D, E, and K. Now, these are all called fat-soluble vitamins, and the body needs to have certain amount of good fats to be able to process these vitamins fully. Same thing with cholesterol. You definitely have to keep bad cholesterol away, and you can do that by avoiding these bad fats. But body needs certain amount of cholesterol for a lot of its processes, like adrenal glands. Now, these glands make important hormones like cortisol and growth hormones. And to make these hormones, these adrenal glands actually use cholesterol as a building block. So it's important to definitely have some kind of good cholesterol in the body. And if you have eggs, that is a good source of good cholesterol. Of course, please try to have the egg in the whole form, because the yolk is the one that has the good cholesterol. Again, please choose organic eggs if you have them. I'd like to mention something about milk here. Children, when they grow up, they definitely need to have milk, but as adults, we should keep milk consumption to a bare minimum. These days, I see a lot of people switching to A2 milk. Yes, A2 does not have a casein compound, which the other milk has, that creates stomach disorders. But whatever milk you buy, whether you buy A2, A1, whole milk, lactose free, whatever milk you buy, kindly make sure that the cartons specifically mention derived from 100% grass-fed cows, because cows must only have grass, hay, and some cow fodder. Unfortunately for us and the cows, the dairy farm is feeding all sorts of unhealthy foods for the cows, like corn, soy, wheat, and sometimes even leftover meat. Even if the carton says organic, all it means is they're giving it organic corn, organic wheat, organic soy, and organic meat. And these are all such unhealthy food for the cows. And unhealthy cows produce toxic milk. And you don't want any of those toxins in your body. So kindly make sure you look for that. Same thing with yogurt. If you make the yogurt out of this milk, then you're fine. But if you buy yogurt from the store, kindly make sure that you look for the carton that says derived from 100% grass-fed cows. Yogurt is, again, a very good probiotic. Gut microbiome thrives with probiotics and fiber. Yogurt, pickles, they're all very good probiotics. And fiber, you obviously, if you have good vegetables and fruits, you can get your fiber from that. And you can get your fiber from nuts and seeds also. So today's topic is titled Healing with Food, but I still feel the necessity to talk a little about healing without food. In other words, healing with fasting. Whenever I give presentations, I try to talk a little bit about fasting and the benefits of fasting, and encourage that everybody should try and cultivate some kind of a fasting routine. Of course, if you're type 1 diabetic, or if you have a serious medical condition, or if you're a lactating mom or a pregnant mom, kindly use caution. And as always, please consult your physician, your nutritionist, or your dietitian before you get into any kind of fasting routine. Now, it was in 2016, a Japanese cell biologist by the name of Yoshinori, he won the Nobel Prize for his research in a process called autophagy. Now, what is autophagy? Autophagy is a process that kicks inside of your body when you are in a continued state of fasting. Now, what happens is when you don't eat, the cells recognize that there is no food coming in. So what they do is they feed on the other cells, but they never feed on the normal cells. They always choose cells that are sick, that are cancerous, and cells that have not developed fully. They never feed on normal cells. So if you look at this, this is an inbuilt recycling mechanism that all of us have in our body, and it will get kicked off if we are in a fasted state, of course. Autophagy kicks in about 16 to 18 hours for somebody who's on a low carb, no sugar diet. But you don't have to get perturbed listening to these high numbers. You can start slow, something like 13 hours, where you have your dinner at 7 p.m. And then next day morning, you break your fast at 8 a.m., nothing but water in between. So, and then you can slowly build up your fasting hours, and you can try and choose a time frame that works comfortable for you. There is no hard rule that you have to do 16-8 or 18-6 or 24 hours or something like that. Try and choose a routine that your body is comfortable with. So a lot of people think that they won't be able to manage their hunger pangs and they're going to be constantly hungry and things like that. But no, hunger, the ghrelin, the hunger hormone, it never always stays up. It spikes, but it comes down. So as long as you find a way to manage those hunger spikes, right, you'll be fine. For me personally, whenever I get the hunger spike, if I have a cup of hot water, that actually takes care of my hunger pangs. Some of my clients say that they chew on ice, and that keeps them staying on a fasted state for a longer period of time. So try and find some way where you can manage those spikes, and then you'll realize that it's not a very difficult thing to do. Another advantage of fasting is it keeps your insulin levels low. Now, why do you have to keep your insulin levels low? Because you know for a fact that you will have less body inflammation if your insulin levels are good. And like I explained before, body inflammation is the root cause for a lot of metabolic disorders. And insulin is a very important hormone which kicks off whenever we have food. So if we have carbs, it gives a high insulin response. When we have proteins, it gives a medium insulin response. And when we have fats, it gives a low insulin response. And when you don't eat, there is no insulin response. So this is a way you can definitely try and make sure that you have good insulin levels. Another advantage of fasting is it produces growth hormones. And you need growth hormones because that way you make sure you have good bone density, you have good muscle strength, you have good brain function, and you can make sure that you have a good balance between, a good ratio between the LDL and the HDL cholesterol. And these days, one single injection of growth hormone costs an arm and a leg. Why do you want to spend so much of money when you can make your own growth hormones if you're in a fasted, if you practice fasting, right? So try and cultivate some kind of a fasting routine. Again, I'd like to emphasize, if you're type 1 diabetic and if you have a serious medical condition, or if you're a lactating mom or a pregnant mom, please use caution. So the takeaways for today's talk are try and eat mostly traditional foods so that you can make sure that whatever foods you eat get properly digested and assimilated in your body. Try and choose organic produce, vegetables, fruits, meats, or grains. And try and choose a lot of variety of fruits and vegetables. Like they say, rainbow colors, right? Make sure your plate looks like that when you have it. And try to include some kind of good fats like ghee, coconut oil, avocado, olive oil, and definitely keep away from unhealthy fats like polyunsaturated fats, trans fats, vegetable oil, corn oil, refined oils, all of these. And try to avoid processed foods, refined flours. Definitely keep white granulated sugar out of your diet. And try to include some kind of probiotics like yogurt, pickles, include some kind of fiber through nuts and seeds. And you can get some good anti-inflammatory foods from spices such as cinnamon, clove, star anise, ginger, turmeric, pepper. Again, try to use turmeric and black pepper in combination. And try to eat mostly whole foods, plant-based, with a little bit of animal protein if required. And try to cultivate some kind of a fasting routine in your life. So a few final words. I think we should start thinking of health as eating more good foods, practicing good lifestyle habits, practicing good environmental habits, rather than thinking of health as just absence of disease. Because whatever foods we eat, that can either be the safest, most powerful form of medicine, or it can be the slowest form of poison. And our bodies are this amazing creation which has some inbuilt cool mechanisms inside of it, which is extremely capable of self-healing. Of course, if you have some kind of serious medical condition, you should go to the trauma center and you should get that addressed right away. But otherwise, if you're dealing with some kind of a metabolic disorder like type 2 diabetes, obesity, blood pressure, hypertension, colon issues, digestive issues, heart disease, kidney disease, any of these, all of these can actually be addressed can be controlled, and in some cases even reversed, if you provide the body good food, practice good lifestyle and environmental habits. Good luck to all of you in your journey for well-being, and thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Lataji, for a very educational and inspiring presentation covering the subject of healing our body with food, the food that we consume every day. Good to keep reminding ourselves, as Sabriji also said, that when we eat healthy food, we don't have to take medicine as food. Thanks also for discussing the benefits of fasting. That was indeed an added bonus in your presentation. Thank you. A time now to address a couple of questions that came from you via the chat box. Anita Bajaj will read the questions for Lataji.
Thank you, Lataji, for this wonderful talk. It was a wealth of information. I'm so glad you addressed the latest fad of intermittent fasting, and tons of questions are coming on the chat box. You may not be able to answer all of them. First of all, start with the question about lectins. You know, now that we want to be vegetarian, we Indians, Asians turn to lentils and beans, and it is being touted as inflammatory food in some talks right now. So how should we safely consume beans and lentils and not have leaky gut?
That's a good question. The perfect way to make sure you don't get that issue is if you soak the dals, if you soak it, if you definitely have to soak it for a minimum of 30 minutes before you cook it, then you'll make sure that you won't have that issue.
Okay. So the talks about the lentils being inflammatory are not really true.
If they do have that element, but if you soak it, then it takes it out of the lentils, so you're fine.
Oh, thank you for that. You addressed already, I had a question about yogurt, but you already said that that's good to consume even though milk is not.
Yes.
Okay. And you know, everybody is different. So how does someone find out what is good for him and what's not?
Definitely the way to go is to understand your body first. There is no, like I said, there is no one superfood, there is no one super diet. And everybody is a different individual. We all have different mechanisms that work differently for each of us. So one particular vegetable might work very well for person A, and the same vegetable might cause a lot of inflammation for person B. So you have to find that out for yourself. There are a few things in general which they say, okay, you can, it's good. But even that, if you don't know your underlying condition and you don't know how your foods are going to react inside of your body unless you try it.
Thank you very much. I don't know how much time we have. I just want to mention, could you post on the chat box, there are questions about which fats are good. Is peanut oil good or bad? So if you can answer that question on the chat box, that would be great. And I want to thank you for addressing the topic of epigenetics, because everybody thinks that if you have high cholesterol, it's genetic, which I think in medical science, yes, we do believe that and treat it with the statins. What are your thoughts on that?
Like I said, we definitely have the capability to keep metabolic disorder genes suppressed in our body as long as we practice good food habits and practice good lifestyle and environment. It's just not only about food. So you cannot try and treat your condition with just making sure that you have the foods. Like if they say, if you have diabetic, if you just keep sugars away, you'll find. No, it's a combination. Everything works. Food is only 50% of well-being. 25% of well-being has to come from your lifestyle habits, and 25% will come from your environmental habits. When I say environmental, I'm talking about just go out, get some fresh air, make sure you connect with nature, things like that. And lifestyle habits means you need to make sure you have good sleep. Sleep is such a big issue. That's one of the reasons why people put on a lot of weight. And you definitely need to have good sleep. You need to do some good exercises and things like that. So definitely it's a combination. So it's just not the food part. You need to make sure you take care of your body as a whole entity.
Thank you so much. I could go on for several minutes, but I have to stop now, and we really appreciate you being here for us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I wish we had more time for the Q&A session, but all the additional questions that you have, they will be answered. Just go on to the Organic Mind website. But in the interest of time, we will move on to the next featured presentation. Seema Arora will introduce the next speaker.
Thank you, Jagmohan. Swami Shiva Shankarayanandaji is the director of Shivanand Yoga Vedanta Center in Los Angeles for more than 4 years. And previously, of course, she was the director of San Francisco chapter for many years. She has traveled to Rishikesh, Haridwar, and many spiritual and holy places in India. She leads the puja ceremonies at the center and routinely explains the significance of the specific rituals and their deeper meaning. She leads courses, classes, workshops, and retreats at the center and is on the teaching team for immersive yoga teacher training courses. She is also a certified yoga therapist committed to bringing the wisdom of yoga to the wellness field, with a special focus on trauma and chronic pain. Her students and bhaktas hold her in the highest regard as she is personally invested in their well-being. Swamiji is an empathic listener and is always there to help families, providing support by her counseling and her gentle and healing presence and demeanor. We feel blessed to have her with us today. She will be talking about pranas and how to boost them. So on behalf of the Organic Mind, it is my honor and privilege to welcome Swami Shiva Shankarayanandaji. Swamiji.
Thank you so much for that nice introduction. Thank you, Sabriji, for inviting me to participate in this wonderful conference. And it's great to be with all of you that we can't see, but we can feel you. So the primordial cause of disease is forgetting our true nature. We forget who we are. We get lost in life. And then when we forget, we make choices, like Lata was saying, yeah, we make choices that are not that supportive for us. And eventually, or immediately, they're going to lead to disease. And that disease could show up in the body or maybe in the mind. So today, I wanted to talk about prana because prana is the link between the body and the mind. Physical body we're very aware of and we identify with. And the mind is kind of sneaky and hard to find. And the prana is the link between the two. So prana, life force energy, is when we breathe, we get prana, but it's not the oxygen. When we eat, we get prana, but it's not the vitamins and minerals. When we have a beautiful sunny day, we feel the sun on our skin, we get prana, but it's not the vitamin D of the sun. It's something finer and subtler than that, something not identifiable. And how do we work with the prana? So breath is how we work with the prana. So we can take deeper breaths, use our breathing mechanism more efficiently to get more prana. And also just like that's the most gross way that we can feel what prana is. The subtlest form of prana, though, is the thoughts in our mind. Okay, so that busyness of the mind is using prana. Okay, so if we can control our breath in yoga, we practice pranayama. We control the breath, so then we control the nervous system. We keep ourselves calm. We keep ourselves clear. We balance that parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system response so we can keep level-headed. We control the prana flowing through our system. Yeah. And in turn, we control the mind by keeping ourselves calm and clear. Okay, so this is how we encourage the body to regenerate. We keep the balance of catabolic, anabolic balanced. So then we end up with good health, good complexion, shiny eyes, and a clear, calm mind. So how can we work with the prana? So we can, of course, do pranayama exercises, which have very specific intention. But I thought today, if we talk about practically in our life, right? We forget who we are. We get involved in life. We get very busy. We start from the morning and we just like go, 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 and then fall into bed at night. Yeah, and it's not very practical. And it's much better if we can think about prana like a bank account. How much prana? Hopefully you sleep well, although a lot of people have troubles with sleep these days. But if you have a good night's sleep and you wake up refreshed, you should have enough prana to make it through your day. But maybe you eat too much for breakfast. Whoa, you get bogged down. Maybe you have an argument right away and you spend a lot of your prana for the day up front. And then what's going to happen later in the day when you're dragging and you just have to keep going. So this is how we get the bad habits of grabbing whatever that thing is that we hope is going to give us some quick energy. Yeah. So best is to have some awareness of lifestyle. Where do I spend the time in my day? What am I doing? First of all, what's the environment? So if you live on a high floor apartment, you go out, take the elevator to the basement, you get in your car, you drive to the basement of a workplace, and then you take an elevator to a high floor with no air. There's not much prana in any part of that situation. So if that's your situation, okay, how are you going to get some prana? How can you, maybe you need to go outdoors for lunch. Go outdoors for a walk, take a breath of fresh air, look at a tree, look at the sky. Yeah. One woman, she's like, it won't make a difference. I don't have time. I'm going to eat at my desk anyway. And it's like, okay, but could you look out the window? She's like, oh my gosh, it won't make a difference. But she promised to do it. And sure enough, even not having the air, but looking outside, you get a little bit replenished. So if we can notice what kind of things we're eating, are they digesting well? Are they bogging down the system? What kind of things are in our environment and how we can counteract? If you work in, say, a hospital, there's a lot of sick people. There's a lot of low prana in the hospital, and you're trying to give prana. So in that situation, hopefully you have, maybe you go hiking on the weekend, or maybe you have a home garden. You go home, put your hands in the dirt and work with nature, and you're gonna help to balance your prana. When we visit somebody in the hospital, what do we take them? We take them a flower, we take them a plant, we take something with prana. They don't have prana, we bring them prana. We don't bring them a plastic flower, we bring them something that has prana. And so if we can have the awareness to think more like this in our life, maybe you spend a lot of time at the computer, it takes our prana, right? Talking on the computer rather than talking to people in person, it takes more prana, right? When there's a give and take, I'm like getting more prana. So realizing that if you spend a lot of time at your desk, how can you make sure that you take more breaks so that you get some prana? If you have a plant on your desk or a flower on your desk, how many times you look at it, and every time you look at it, you get some prana. Okay, even like what you wear, how you speak, where you go, right? You go to the shopping mall. Maybe we're not doing that so much these days of COVID, but anywhere we go where there's a lot of noise, a lot of people, a lot of disharmony, or just a lot of sound even, we can get, it can take prana. So we need to have some quiet time too. So just to have some idea, if you just think right now, what do I spend? Where do I spend most of my time? Is there prana? Are the windows open? Is there sunlight? Is there ventilation? Is there something growing? Is there something, the color of nature in my space? And we can just rectify a few things like that. We feel much better. Okay, so I have a chart that I'm going to share with you at the end of the talk, which hopefully can help you think about how you can recharge when you need that prana, or notice sooner when your prana level's going down and you can stop it. Maybe you're in a conversation that's going south, right? People complaining, and it doesn't look like they're open to a resolution. You can stop the conversation, right? I don't have enough energy to continue here. And people are shocked. They're like, I couldn't say that. And you must say it. You must be the one that's in charge of your prana. Okay. So if you notice the things that both increase your prana and the things that spend more prana than you maybe realize, even a nagging thought, something that you haven't dealt with or something somebody said yesterday and you're still worried about it and chewing on it, that kind of repetitive thought takes a lot of prana. Maybe it's something you've carried your whole life and haven't resolved, right? It's taking a lot of prana. So if we think about the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, we can think in each one as a category, what ways we would increase the prana and what ways we would decrease, just as some ideas that are practical that you could think. In Ayurveda, we can what's the word? Bring the sense, the nose, the smell with the earth element. So things that we would smell, like we put our hands in the soil, that smell of the soil, good incense, good quality incense, aromatherapy, things like that are increasing to your prana through the earth. Swami Shivananda highly recommends walking barefoot in the grass. Walking barefoot, feeling the earth under your feet, right? Often we're just walking on sidewalks. Walk in the grass, go to the beach, walk in the sand, feel the nature, and brings so much prana. Okay, so please try that. So conversely, if we think about the earth, like I said before, to be away from the earth, to be on a high floor of a building, there's less prana. So make sure that you spend time on the ground to feel grounded. Something else, even if we have the most wonderful organic food would be from the earth element. So we eat that good food, we get prana. If we eat too much of it, it's so good. And we have another portion and a little bit more, then we feel heavy and bogged down. So that's a way to lose prana. It takes so much prana to digest our food. So much better that we prepare the food in a way that's easily digestible. Even our eyesight is reduced when we eat a large meal. So if you haven't noticed that, notice it the next time, or don't overeat, then you don't have to notice it. But if you should overeat, notice that your eyesight even gets a little blurry because the body's desperate to find the energy from anywhere. Okay, so then if we look at water, and water connects with the tongue. Yeah, so water, we know, like looking at the ocean, just watching the waves gives us prana. Taking a shower, being in a body of water, looking at the color of water, the reflections on the water, all of these ways we can get prana from water. Drinking fresh, good, clean water. So if we think, how would we lose prana? Maybe some other liquids that we drink that aren't so pranaful, maybe coffee, maybe alcohol, sparkly soda kind of drinks, like Lata said, fruit juices, right? Some of these things maybe will take prana. Okay, And of course, eating food that doesn't really digest in your system. The next one is fire, which connects with the eyes. Yeah. So, you know, we go to a bonfire and we love to just watch the flame dancing, or even a candle. We get mesmerized by that primal, the element, but it's also some connection to something higher, and it draws us in. So for sure, the sun, feeling the sun on our skin, many people put sunglasses on immediately, even if it's not even sunny outside. We need sunlight in our eyes and on our skin, obviously not too much, but we need it. I mentioned flowers, just seeing the colors of nature. Somebody's screen without their video on is beautiful flowers, and it draws your attention, the colors, and just looking at that, even though it's a picture, not the thing, it gives you prana. So looking at flowers, maybe having a garden, looking at vegetables growing in the earth, it gives you prana. And smiles give you prana. You can give them freely. Yeah. Conversely, obviously the light of the computer screen is tough on our energy. So we need to take our breaks, moving away from it, and watching any, a lot of TV watching. And what are you watching on TV? Many people think it's relaxation to flop in front of the TV, but it's just like pouring more stuff into your senses to digest. So it's not really the most relaxing. Maybe exercising too much as well takes your energy and isn't replenishing. We get a little bit obsessed. So then if we go to the air element, yeah, to be outdoors, to take, it can be a hike or a nice gentle walk, or in Japan, they talk about forest bathing, to just be outdoors in a beautiful place and take it in. Just pause and look and take it in. And we get a lot of prana from that. So air is associated with skin. So touch, we're not encouraged to do that these days with COVID, but touch, just touching someone, or even massage, or petting an animal, or holding a baby, all of those things, they bring us prana. Okay. So maybe synthetic clothing. Yeah, we like natural fibers, so maybe synthetic clothing is going to take prana. If we think about, we spend a lot of time in bed, so maybe making sure the sheets and what you wear in bed are natural fiber is a way to conserve your prana. And any place where there's no air moving, even if we think about planes, trains, cars, all the transportation that we take, we're moving, we don't have so much air, and it's depleting when we're moving so much. And then finally, the ether element, which think about the ear. So of course, beautiful sounds, chanting like this program started with, so beautiful, so deeply filling. Kirtan, even sharing stories that can be spiritual stories, but also just listening to someone and their story, but genuinely caring is very energizing, connecting. We look in the eyes of someone and feel who they are. Also silence. Yeah. Spending some time in silence. We can fast from food, but we can also fast from talking, and we get recharged. Yeah, we get more energy rather than being on long conversations, never being off the phone. Any minute we're waiting on the line, we're calling somebody else. It's not giving ourselves that moment for contemplation. So anytime there's a lot of noise, or complaining going on and on, or abusive words, it's just like immediately pulls your prana down. Okay. So I think I don't have much more time. I'm going to share this handout in the chat so that you can refer to it. And I hope it's helpful for you to think through some just things in your environment that you could take more advantage of, or make some simple changes. Okay, so let me see. I will grab that. Okay, I can see it in the chat. I hope you can as well. So thank you again for your attention, and I hope that you will think about your prana level during the day. Om Shanti.
Amazing how we all take our pranas for granted. Thank you, Swamiji, for showing us a path to boosting our life force, our pranas. We all, of course, realize the importance of prana. I think it's safe to say that there is no life without prana. So pay attention to keeping your pranas healthy. Okay, we'll move on to addressing a few questions from the audience. Seema will read the questions addressed to Swamiji.
Hi, Swamiji, thank you so much. This was amazing because I think I'm sure for everyone else, at least for me, I also somehow, think of prana as, pranayams like breath. So giving that overview of how all the 5 senses we engage in, how we can boost our pranas in different ways, because I just always think of pranayam. We got to do alom vilom and this, that somehow maybe knew a little bit, but anyway, so that was, I think, very enlightening for all of us. I think I can safely say that. And the question, how do we heal ourselves? What is healing yoga, like they say? Like I know you do focus on trauma a lot. So if you could just, I know I'm going a little bit outside the topic maybe, but I was too tempted to let it go. So if you could, yes.
It always comes back to balance. It always comes back to the simple things of, the yoga that we teach is based on 5 points: proper exercise, proper relaxation, which many people forget, proper breathing, proper diet, and positive thinking and meditation. So we always have to go back to those. And in what way can we point somebody, or which of those 5 is it more out of balance, and how can we use the other 4 maybe to come back toward balance? We also talk about sattva, rajas, and tamas, which it's like too little energy, too much energy, and trying to find balance. So we're always trying to go back to sattva. When we have a lot of energy, we reach for things that give us more energy, right? We reach for the energy drink, we reach for the spicy food, and then we get more excited instead of, gosh, I'm so excited, I should calm down. It's not usually how we naturally think. And so coming back to balance, coming back to sattva, coming back to this moment, what am I doing? Often it's something I'm doing that's putting me out of balance. So I'm not sure how to more specifically answer the question, but it's usually simple that we can step back and look. Yeah. And often it's like, drink more water, spend a little time outside, get a little bit of exercise, walk after your meal. It's like just to get started to see, right? Or we do a course on sleep, and it's like, look at the things that you're doing before you sleep, and look how you can, when people come up with their nighttime routine, I'm like, that sounds great. I want to do that. And we can, we can make those changes little by little. So it's like having the awareness, and then being willing to make even a small change is the beginning of bigger changes.
Yeah, and another question that's come up here on the chat box is, how do we walk on the beach, or, if we're in extreme weathers, and this is, from the East Coast right now. So they're saying, how do you expect me to walk on the grass, or, what do I do? So it was
wrap up and go outside, wrap up and feel that coldness. Look at the sky. It's so clear. When it's so cold, it's so clear, right? Or when the snow falls, it's so quiet. So don't miss that time. After a while, it's just gray and sludge, right? Don't miss that time when it's just like magical. So be interested in that, the changing of the seasons. Spring will come soon enough, but there's still a tree and there's still things to look at. Yeah. So don't be afraid of the cold.
So I think you mentioned in your talk, look outside the window if you cannot do anything else. So the various ways. Thank you so much. I think in the interest of time, I can keep on having this conversation. So, but thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. And it's an honor to have you.
Om Shanti.
Thank you again, Swamiji. So earlier, Sabriji spoke about level 2 and level 3 students in his class. So what do these students think about these classes? So let's hear from them. Let's hear from a few level 2 and level 3 students who will share their experience.
When I first met Sabriji at the Simi Valley Hindu Temple, I was going through a lot of health issues. I was ailing physically, I was ailing emotionally, and I felt like I was at the dead end. And I started to incorporate Sabriji's teachings into my daily life little by little. And I started to feel a new wave of hope within me. I feel like a completely changed person. The fear of unknown has vanished. My anxieties have dissipated. I feel at peace. I feel at bliss every moment of my life. I want to thank our Guruji for his teachings, his wisdom. I feel a divine connection with every person, with every divine soul in our satsangs.
Sabriji's level 1, level 2, and level 3 program especially helped me to gain a better understanding of the do's and don'ts rules of life. By practicing Sabriji's meditation and pranayama techniques, now I can maintain my dhyana for a long time without any interruptions and fall into a blissful state very easily. Now I smile more, I celebrate more, I have more peace around me, I have less desires, I have less inner chattering with my mind, and I feel grateful for this life.
I did join Sabriji and his Organic Mind meditation group, and I loved it. I loved it from the very beginning, from the very start. Not only did he teach us breathing exercises, he gave us facts and he educated us, and he has been educating us, and that is one of the things that I truly enjoy. And then we practice our meditation. I keep coming back because there is so much to learn. I feel much better. I feel more balanced. I sleep better. And I can only say it's the best decision I've ever made. And I love it.
In the past 4 years, I've continued to take Sabriji's weekly 1-hour sessions. You know, we get to be with Sabriji. We meditate together, we do the breathing exercises together, and we also have discussions on various topics. We sometimes, we think that we're the only ones going through certain things, but not knowing that, other people are going through probably the same thing as you are. And it helps to hear how they've come through. I just want to encourage everyone to join the sessions with Sabriji, learn how to meditate, learn the breathing exercises because they do help.
Sabriji has inspired and motivated us in many different ways. I have realized that as a human being, we all have many challenges in our life. So, if we have some good satsang that will lead us to overcome challenges and live in a society with minimum stress, fear, worries, regret, and guilt. I have felt a few changes, such as I am trying not to overreact or to judge people and also not to expect from others. I am benefiting from the combination of satsangs, pranayama, and meditation, and it truly brings inner peace into my life.
Sabriji teaches us that to reach enlightenment, you don't need to go to the Himalayas. He leads us to travel inward to change our perspective to life and become more conscious about our well-being. We are grateful to our Acharya for directing us in the direction of Nirvana.
Sabriji, you have been inculcating the path towards my cluttered thoughts, showing me the light to overcome the darkness. In my life, you have left a big impression. I'm always looking forward to being in your class. Your simple demeanor, simple explanations makes it easy to follow what you're trying to implement. I have long ways to go. I'm a sadhaka, and I'm sure I'll be able to succumb with your guidance. Thanks.
Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amridam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
The students are indeed the ambassadors of the organic mind and a testimonial to the tremendous benefits of yoga and meditation. Thank you, level 2 and level 3 students, for sharing your inspiring experiences. We also want to thank you, Vinay Chawla of Caring Hands, for preparing this wonderful video that we just watched. Let me take you now to the next featured presentation. Anita Bajaj will introduce the speaker.
Our next guest speaker probably needs no introduction, as he has been a guest speaker in many organic mind events. It is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Tucker once again to talk to us about a very important topic. Dr. Tucker is a nephrologist. He is the founder of one of the largest kidney specialty groups in Southern California and CEO of a healthcare management company, Kidney Center, Inc. He has been a teacher, a researcher, was on faculty at UCLA, and has several publications in prestigious medical journals. He is a philanthropist and recipient of the Spirit Award. Dr. Tucker's journey with meditation started in high school, where he learned meditation from a guru in Bombay, India. Residency medical school, clinical work, took over till 1985. Then when his practice and business grew, he felt the stress. And remembering what he had learned from his guru in India, he went back to meditation and he has never stopped. He has continued to grow his practice and he retired in 2012. And since then, he has been focusing on researching the science behind meditation, learning from the numerous scientific journals available now on this topic and from our own scriptures. He has provided this information to all of us in layman's terms. Last talks were about meditation and sleep. Today, he's going to talk about a very important topic, asana, which he will explain to us. Welcome, Dr. Tucker. Just bear with us, little delay in the video.
Sorry, it is coming. And also you can increase your volume to hear this thing. So just a minute, I'm sharing. Just to get you going.
Namaste everyone at Organic Mind. Thank you for spending your valuable time on this weekend with Organic Mind and listening to our presentation. I can assure you that your time spent here will be worth your while. I also want to thank Sabriji and all the organizers of Organic Mind for spreading this very useful knowledge to the community. I want to especially thank Rajesh Thakkar and Kumarul Lal for helping me with my computer and internet gremlins. Some of you know me. I am Dr. Usha Khan Thakkar, a retired kidney doctor with interest in science of yoga from the medical perspective. My today's talk will be on the topic of asana or postures. You all know the 4 pillars of health. They are nutrition, exercise, sleep, and grace. And today's topic of asana falls into the category of exercise. It will become obvious to you at the end of the lecture that asana is one of the proven methods for living a long and a healthy life. You will also see there are 2 components to asana: strength and stretching. To me, stretching is even more important than muscle strength. You will understand more as we go along. In the following slide, we will be covering introduction to asana, basics of asana and its history, science behind the practice. I will not focus on all the asanas you might know. Even some of them you might know better than I do. But I will discuss a few important ones. We'll talk about do's and don'ts, medical benefits of asana, and we will conclude with time for question and answers at the end. What is asana? Patanjali, the author of Yoga Sutra, the most authoritative book on yoga, begins the discussion of asana by defining it in verse 46 of the book 2. Sthir Sukhmasana. Sthir means still, Sukh means comfort. Asana is a posture one can hold with comfort while staying still. It is obvious here that the focus was not on different kinds of postures, but on just a comfortable position to connect with the divine. A healthy body can harbor a healthy brain. We will not discuss all different asanas. You all know them and can learn in your asana classes. Our focus is going to be on few selected ones and medical and scientific approach to asana in general. To achieve the goal of samadhi or the divine connection, one needs to be ethically pure by yama, mentally stable by pranayama, physically in the best possible state by asana, well adjusted in environment by pratyahara, and could allocate time for concentration and focus by dhyana and dharana, ultimately leading to samadhi, but not siddhi. The most basic impulses of the life are moving, breathing, eating, eliminating waste, sleeping, and procreating. Moving comes in many forms. Our goal with asana is to provide the movement alternative which are safe for all ages and all genders. Now let us look at the history of exercise in general and asana specifically. Human appeared on the earth about 2.5 million years ago and lived as hunter-gatherer, eating only when they got a hunt. And that was generally once every 2 to 3 days. For that, they needed to walk 10 to 20 miles every day. Farming started 12,000 years ago, and with that, the habit of walking reduced to 5 to 10 miles per day. Then came the Industrial Revolution. It brought machines like bicycle and cars, and walking further reduced to 2 to 3 miles per day. And nowadays, with TV and computers, walking became negligible. Continuing on history, some 1400 years ago, when the original text of Yoga Sutra was written by Patanjali, he did not focus on a particular asana or posture. He emphasized only a position that was comfortable for connecting to the divine during meditation. In 9th century, Yogi Goraksha developed Hatha Yoga, out of which came the physical postures the Western world now embraces and all of you practice. It is interesting to note that the oldest record of an Mula Bandha Asana was found in the Pashupati seal in Indus Valley excavation some 2,500 years ago. So Indians knew about asana for a long, long time. This slide is to wake you up, particularly for ladies. There is this new asana called nail paint asana. If you can paint your toenails, or if you try to paint your toenails, you will develop abdominal flatness, and that would be a wonderful asana. Now a little anatomy lesson. This slide shows a group of lower body muscles and tendons. For those who don't know this, muscle, pink in color, and are connected to the bone by a gray fibrous band called tendon that gradually transitions into muscle. These muscles are covered with a cellophane-like membrane called fascia. It allows the muscles to slide over each other during contraction and relaxation. In this slide of important muscle group, I would like to note that diaphragm is a very important muscle that many of us don't even know. You need to pay attention to this big muscle that separates chest and abdomen. Its strength is vital for our survival. Abdominal breathing is the best way to strengthen your diaphragm. A second group of most important muscles are the muscles of torso or core. These are the largest muscles. Their actions are vital for our survival, and they happen to also burn largest number of calories. If you only want to do a few exercises, you must do the core exercise to keep your torso fit and firm. Now let us spend a little time on a very common asana we all do and don't even recognize. It is yawning. Maybe this is the time for you to yawn once to prevent you to get bored. Yawning, it is such a very important asana that it has been built into all of us as a reflex. All men and animals must do it. It is not optional. A yawn is a reflex consisting of the simultaneous inhalation of air and stretching of the eardrums, followed by exhalation of the breath. It is sometimes accompanied in human and other animals by an instinctive act of stretching several parts of the body, including arms, neck, shoulder, and back. It is observed to be contagious. It is commonly associated with tiredness, stress, sleepiness, boredom, hunger, and even low blood pressure. The benefit of yawning are it expands lungs to the fullest. It opens all the channels like eustachian tube going to the middle ear and nasal sinuses. Stretching draws fluid from the extravascular compartment into blood vessels, stabilizing blood pressure and blood volume. Stretching produces useful hormone called resolvin, good for heart health. Cortisol levels rise during yawning to prepare body for stress. Next important aspect of any asana or posture is stretching. In my view, stretching is even more important than asana itself. It is built in to us as a reflex, as a part of yawning, and animals and men must do it. One of the most important aspects of healthy body is flexibility. And flexibility is not possible without stretching. They say, I bend so I don't break. Spontaneous stretching can accompany yawning, and it is designed to keep the body fluids and blood pressure in balance. Stretching is a natural and instinctive activity. It is performed by human and many animals. Continuing about stretching, stretching is exercise in which a specific muscle or muscle group is deliberately stretched for about 10 to 30 seconds in order to improve the muscle's elasticity and achieve a comfortable muscle tone. If the tension in the muscle is not resolved, the muscle tends to guard by tightening, which may continue to limit mobility and flexibility, and the body may continue to experience pain. Stretching, if done correctly, is one of the simplest forms of body maintenance, which almost anyone can do on their own time. Stretching is also used therapeutically to alleviate pain. All the practitioners of asana should know that there are two kinds of stretching, active and passive. The example of active stretching is lowering phase of a bicep curl. It helps flexibility and strengthens the muscle. We should also know what a stretch reflex is. Stretch reflex is designed as a protective mechanism in the body. It helps to keep our text muscles in a safe range of motion until the tension resolves and the muscle can return to normal function. For a passive stretch, holding a stretch for 30 seconds or more allows the muscle to overcome the stretch reflex. This will give the muscle a more tense and a deeper stretch when compared to dynamic stretching. This is the example of passive stretch. Like anything else, there are side effects to stretching too. Longer the duration of static stretch, particularly more than 30 seconds, it causes exhaustion of the muscles. So passive stretch is not advised before active sports. It can cause permanent damage to tendons and muscles if done with a tremendous force. It can also cause permanent damage to ligaments, leading to hypermotility and therefore instability of the joint. Now let us look at how stretching affects our heart. Fascia, as I told you earlier, is the layer of paper-like tissue that surround muscles and allow them to slide over each other. It was long thought to be nothing more than nature's version of plastic wrap. The fascia is now known to be biologically active. When fascia is stretched, cells within the tissue become flatter and longer and secrete an anti-inflammatory molecule called resolvin, which turns off the inflammation. Two research studies shown in this slide are worth noting. University of Texas study in 2008. There was an unexpected finding that strength training had not much effect, whereas stretching for 20 seconds only, 3 days a week for 3 months reduced the arterial stiffness by 23%. A 218 study of 1,354 Japanese men found that the least flexible of them showed the highest level of atherosclerosis, that is the buildup of plaque in arteries. It shows that improving the elasticity of our muscles and tendon by stretching also improves the elasticity of our blood vessels, and that in turn reduces heart attack. Now you might ask me, how do I know how flexible I am? Well, here is an answer. There are two simple tests to determine your flexibility. The first one is called sit and reach test. It is simple. Sit with legs straight out in front, reaching forward with fingertips towards your toes. If you can get within range of 2 inches of your toes, you have good flexibility. And if you can't, you need to work on it to help your heart. This picture shows the test. The second test is Apley's shoulder mobility test. You should be able to reach within 2 inches of the other finger in this position. If you can, you are flexible. If you can't, you need help. Key requirements of asana are correct spinal position, head, neck, torso to be kept erect, allowing the normal curvature, strong muscles, flexibility with full range of motion, and comfortable movement. Now I will go over a few important asanas which has maximum medical benefit. The first one is squatting or malasana. You need to keep this asana for 1 minute to be useful. The next one is splitting. It is very attractive posture when you sit this way, but it is misleading as it leads to hypermotility, which is not good for you. We only need to go halfway to the split for the best benefit. So don't try to go what this guy in the picture is doing. Next one is inversion. All of you know headstand, but I'm going to compare headstand with inversion. This is my favorite asana. I have been doing this for past 20 years. What you see in this slide is a person doing headstand, a popular asana. And next to that, you see an inversion table. Here is an individual using the inversion table. My advice for those who like headstand is that you would be better off doing inversion because it gives you all the benefits of headstand and much more. We will discuss it in the next slide. Here are the benefits of inversion. The yellow highlighted benefits are unique to inversion that is not available with headstand. The first two are, it reduces pressure in the intervertebral discs and preventing the disc protrusion and pinched nerve. Stretching the paravertebral muscles, preventing the hunchback. You know, hunchback is a common occurrence as the age passes, and inversion helps prevent it. Inversion improves the circulation to the brain. It improved the strength of the brain arteries, preventing hemorrhagic stroke. It prevents hair loss by allowing more blood to the hair follicles. And time for meditation while hanging upside down. Please keep in mind, headstand or inversion is not good for all. Here are few contraindications. The first one is if your blood pressure is out of control. Second one, if you have an aneurysm of the brain artery. Some of you have tendency for bleeding in your eyeball. People with glaucoma. People with joint problems, either in ankle, knee, or in your hips. People with acid reflux disease, and of course, pregnant women should not be doing inversion or headstand. The next asana is savasana or dead body posture. It looks very simple and it is very important. You lay flat on your back, relax, and while you are relaxing, instruct your body parts to relax starting from your toes, going up and ending with your eyelids. During this time, breathe easy. If your brain cannot stop thinking, you can use mantra and then gradually come out of it. Another one of my favorite posture is plank. You can start with 10 seconds and gradually increase it to up to 2.5 minutes. This is the least likely to injure you, but burns high number of calories. Just make sure that your shoulders and elbows are strong. Next one is Surya Namaskar or Sun Salutation. If there is only one asana you want to do, this is the one. It covers 12 different asanas in one sequence. Just one word of caution. Please do not look at the sun directly while doing this asana. That is very dangerous for your eye. And the last one is Chandra Namaskar or Moon Salutation. It provides you with a complete movement of your spinal column. Now let us look at the medical benefits of asana. They are many. Hormones like serotonin and dopamine are released by the brain during exercise, and these hormones reduce depression. Hormone endorphin production increases. That minimizes the discomfort of exercise, blocks the feeling of pain, and it is associated with feeling of euphoria. It is also addictive, and that allows you to continue a pro-health activity. That is the reason many joggers like to continue to jog, because they get joggers high due to endorphin. Next hormone is BDNF. It is produced in the brain, and the production of that is increased. This hormone repairs the memory neurons, and that is why we feel at ease and mentally clear after asana. Insulin resistance reduces, helping type 2 diabetics. Improves vascular elasticity, reducing the arterial blockers. Asanas improve muscle strength and tendon elasticity, and reduces arthritis by providing greater stability to joints. For those who are business-minded, business of yoga is big. The real business of yoga is based upon asana, and that is unfortunate. Yoga is $1 billion business in the US and a $3 billion business worldwide. Most of the Western yoga has missed the real essence of yoga, dhyana or meditation, where you can connect to the divine force. It goes without saying, asana goes with pranayama. When pranayama is combined with asana, the stress of exercise is reduced. Pranayama also helps diaphragmatic strength, and movement of the diaphragm also helps digestion and intestinal motility. And most of all, pranayama is the best mood stabilizer. In conclusion, a well-done asana practice is the best way to extend quality and quantity of life without trauma. For quality, it improves mood, slows aging-related diseases, reduces chances of arthritis. For quantity, nothing's come closer to regular asana pranayama practice for longevity. Make sure you consult with your doctor, and more so if you have medical problems. If you have any questions, we'll answer you at the end. Thank you very much. Namaste.
I really liked the nail paint asana. I think I should come up with a golf swing asana. Something we do anyways. Might as well credit for it. Thank you, Dr. Thakur, for your scientific perspective on yogasana, its relationship to samadhi, and for giving us a practical guide for our well-being. Thank you so much. Let's take a few questions from the audience. Anita will read the questions.
Once again, thank you, Dr. Thakur, and enlightening us with the science behind our ancient scriptures and wisdom from our scriptures. It is interesting. My favorite is Shavasana. Then I can go to sleep. I know I can never do the headstand. And so it's interesting that you brought the inversion. Question is for how long and how often can it be done safely if you are able to take it?
Again?
The inversion table, how long?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so inversion table has its side effects, and I have told you in my presentation.
Yes.
So for anybody who's new to inversion table, they should start not completely vertical. And generally, there are 3 levels, 20 degrees, 40 degrees, and 60 degrees, and you start with 2 minutes. And over a period of 6 months, you go to maximum 15 minutes.
Okay.
So it goes very slowly. I would say maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute every week, depending upon how well you can tolerate.
Okay. Okay. So what would be the thing that you would be looking for when you can't tolerate it? Headache or something like that?
Right. One of the common things that everybody experiences, and it should not shy you away, is that your nose will be stuffed.
Okay.
That is normal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So it should not bother you. But suppose if you get headache or blurred vision, or you feel dizzy, then suddenly you should come up and be normal.
Sure.
In the beginning, I would say for a period of 1 month, you should have somebody around you. So in case if something should happen to you, they can bring you up.
Thank you for that. It was very interesting that, stretching can also relax your arteries, arterial walls, and help you in atherosclerosis. So you said that resolvin is created when we do stretching. Are there any other foods that can give resolvin?
No. Resolvin is a naturally produced element that comes from collagen fibers. So it comes from fascias, ligaments, and tendons. There is no natural way to get resolvin. But it is very interesting. We never realized that something like resolvin existed. And
Right.
so people who do the stretching and inversion, the amount of resolvin produced in inversion is the highest. So if you want to do a few stretching, inversion would be the best way. Imagine this way, every vertebral body is connected with a ligament to the upper or lower vertebra.
Mm-hmm.
So when you stretch all of them, a large amount of resolvin is produced.
Thank you for that. There was a question, what is the difference between regular exercise and yoga asanas?
I think in regular exercise, you are doing most of the time an isotonic exercise, which means that when you carry a weight and you say bend your elbows, the tension in the muscle remains the same. Isotonic exercise is not as calorie burning, and it is not as strengthening as isometric, which is where you're trying to push, but you're not pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you bend your muscles, for example, if I do this, I am pushing both my arms, but they're not going anywhere, but I'm pushing them. All my muscles go through activity that is isometric. They don't change the length, they only change the tension. That is better to improve the muscle strength, muscle size, and burn calorie. And most of the yoga exercises are isometric exercise. So they are superior exercises than the one that is done in the gym. But if you are going to the gym and you cannot do yoga, please don't stop it. Gym is definitely helpful. I go to gym too, but isometric is always superior to isotonic.
Thank you so much. I could ask questions forever. There's so many, but thank you so much. In the interest of time, we have to stop. So we look forward to seeing you again in the next Yatra.
Namaste.
Dr. Tucker.
Thank you, Dr. Tucker. Again, as you have more questions, please keep adding them to the chat box. The speakers will get a chance to look at them, and you will find the answers on the Organic Mind website. So at this point, let me take you back to Sabriji for the experience of sailing in silence.
Thank you, G. So now we come to a point, let us experience meditation. We talk about it all the time. Let us experience directly what is it. Let me take a couple of minutes to explain the simplicity of it. As Swamiji spoken, Ladaji said, and Dr. Ji said about everything is a simplistic approach to life, brings more value to our life. We ignore all these simple things which is around us. We are always looking for more complicated things. Dr. Ji was saying that yarning can bring such a great health to you. And Swamiji was telling that just look around, pay attention to the color of the world, pay attention to your body, pay attention to your people around you, pay attention to your backyard, pay attention to your own life, and that brings superior life quality to you. Ladaji was telling that just be aware about your food, what you intake, and that brings life and health to you. So meditation is, in a very simplified term, to relax your mind, which you are always use it. The mind purpose is very simple. The mind purpose is to protect your body. So it always help you as a servant. So, but in today's world, the mind has taken over your inner kingdom. Or, in Bible, they say inner kingdom is God. God is within you. Aham Brahmasmi. In every holy books and every scriptures, they are talking about that precious jewel is within you. But in order to bring this precious jewel or this presence out, you need subtle awareness. This subtle awareness can bring such a marvelous things in your life. For that, you need to quieten your mind. As we always inner chatter, always engaging our mind to do something or the other. And today's life is almost a compulsive thinking. Too much gadgets, too much apps, too much compulsive thing which is taking our attention and engaging our mind on every second basis. Whatever it is happening in Taliban is right in your bedroom before you go to sleep. This is how your modern technology is pushing life, larger than life information to your throat, whether you like it or not. Sometimes we get addicted to it. So meditation is an exercise to let go your mind. So in order to do that, let us understand the nature of the mind. What is the nature of the mind? If you really pay attention to yourself, the nature of the mind is always, imagine like a pendulum. These thoughts are going, oscillating in front of you, going to two extremes, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, sometimes ugly thoughts, sometimes beautiful thought, sometimes suppressed thought, depressed thought, sometimes very energetic thought. This mode of operation of oscillation is continuous, and your thought is always going to be there within you. So don't try to suppress the thought. We are not here to stop that oscillation. If you try to stop that oscillation, you get frustration. So meditation is not about stopping that oscillation. That momentum is always there within you. During meditation, all you have to do is just not bothered by your own botheration, not participating in that oscillation. Let the oscillation be going like this. Let the dancing thought, let it be there inside you. Do not get associated with that. As simple as this. A lot of people ask like, I cannot meditate because the moment I sit, it's very difficult for me to meditate. I understand, because your mind is not designed to keep quiet. So what happens if you associate with that mind? Always dancing party only. There is no time for silence. If you don't have a time for silence, you cannot feel the simplest thing in your life, the simple thing which is the presence inside you, which is responsible for your quality of your life. And that's missing. You are beating around the bush. So let us take this as an opportunity to at least try out. I am going to close my eyes. I am not going to be bothered by my thoughts. Let the pendulum of thoughts goes in front of me, but I am going to witness those without associating, without joining that oscillation in front of me. Can we all do that? Please close your eyes, sit straight, start listening to your breath. To start with, pay attention to your breathing. Take a deep breath, inhale and exhale, just to bring your attention and focus to your breathing system, to your prana. Just bring your attention to the pranamaya kosha, the pranic body, and listen to your own breathing. The cosmic rhythm is happening right there. Bring attention and focus to your breathing, and slowly start witnessing the oscillation of your thoughts. That means I am not telling you to generate a thought, but if at all a thought comes in your space, just witness those. I will help you with one music here to support your witness. Let us sail in silence. Whenever you're ready, you may open your eyes. So meditation can be done at least 20 to 25 minutes every day to clear the cluttered space we have, clear the noise, inner chattering from our inner space, and feel connect with your own being. So this is a great technique. Dhyanam, meditation is a great technique to connect back to yourself. So thank you for joining me for the meditation session. If you have any question or any concern or anything, please post or ask me through email or text. You know me, how to catch me. So thank you.
Feeling very relaxed. Thank you, Sabriji, for this experience of sailing in silence. I realize we are a little bit behind schedule, not too much though. I think it's important we give Sabriji a chance to address a few questions.
Sure.
Seema will read the questions from the chat box.
Yes, Ji.
Hi, Sabriji. I've been with you long enough, so we've been learning a lot from you. And I just wanted to say this. I think what attracted most to be with you was that you were living a real life. Like many of us have this, that we have to renounce everything or something. So actually seeing an example of yourself to be living the regular life, restashna and professional life, and also, being a yogi. So just wanted to mention that before I ask the question. So I think there is when you have always said, there are so many paths, so many religions, right? But when I think of it, like, and this has also been mentioned by other people, like if you want to do bhakti yoga and if you're hurting all over or you're just stressed out, how can you actually follow that path? Or same for the jnana yoga, if you're, don't have the capacity to sit and read and contemplate. So what would be the ideal way for a beginner or intermediate to kind of get into this path without getting too much caught up in the details?
Thank you. It's a fantastic question. I think you asked so many things in one. I will wrap it around quickly because we are running out of time too. I think the way the organic mind, as I said, conceptualized, are we understand what is the root cause of the problem and what is the solution. The problem is mind, and it is not I recognized. This is recognized, well known by ages and ages. And the solution is making it organic. You call it as, I call that as making it organic. Someone call it as nirvana. Someone call it as transcendenting your mind. And whatsoever you call it as, the root cause of the problem is mind, and how to, get out of it, or how to, cooperate with that mind, the monster mind. So that is the challenging part. So there are different paths are there. As you said, some people are connected with their heart, they can use bhakti yoga. If they are more intellectual, they can use jnana yoga. If they are very physical and they don't like all those techniques, but they want to worship their work, there is a karma yoga. And for those who don't like all the three, use the techniques, Raja Yoga. So there are various combinations are there. That is why in Organic Mind, what we did actually is take the culmination of all the four and make a program. So our level 1 program is Ashtanga Yoga, introductory session about yoga. It will give you a roadmap about what is yoga and how to go about it. And then our Thursday program is a kind of a ground where you can come and practice, and it's an ambience for you to come and practice and engage in disengagement of your mind. And we have a tri-yoga session. As Dr. G was saying that asana, the isometric exercises are more benefit for you. Learn and cultivate, inculcate the habit of adopting these routines. So we teach like a 30 plus poses, including Surya Namaskar. And that is spread across 10 weeks of a session so that you cultivate the real yoga. And for the advanced seekers, we have a level 2 and level 3, and Seema, Anidaji, Jagmohanji, Pushpaji, there are so many, Manju Kundal, Neeruji, Rajesh Thakkar, Sejal Thakkar, I can name it, Riti, Rupa Sharma, Salil Sharma, I don't want to miss out any name, Vatsala Sharma. Everybody is there who are there for more than 5 years, sticking around there. You may ask, like, what is there 5 years to do yoga? It is nothing but to recognize the subtle awareness within us. So if you have a thick mind, we need to work on too much. You might have learned so much. These 5 years will give you an ambience to unlearn, unwind things. So that is why I would say better to take any programs, not necessarily the Organic Mind, but somebody who is giving a real program. It is like you want a milk, get it from cow. You don't have to eat the grass. So I think I answered both the questions or your cumulative of questions in one answer.
Yeah. That was, a multiple prong question. I realize that, but I just wanted you to give, because I hear a lot of these resistances, when people say, like seniors say, everything is hurting, or this is, not good. How can I sit? What do you want me to sit? And I've already, done with my life. So all these kind of statements, which are kind of resistances, and, so I just wanted you to comment, like, these teachings are based on our old age, wisdom. So if you have anything to add to that, for our viewers, please.
Sure. I think the important aspect we have to find out, all our dukkha, as clearly Buddha said, the dukkha is there, suffering is there because of ignorance. So once you remove the ignorance within us, the dukkha will disappear. So how to remove the ignorance? I can't say $1 million question, maybe $1 billion question, but that is where we have to simplify certain things in our life and start looking at very small things which we never pay attention. That is my original story says that the jewels you are looking is very closer than your breath. So that is where you have to start somewhere to understand what is life and how to take that steps and incorporate in our life. People like to give advice to others, but they don't want to do on their own. So you have to not talk about meditation, yoga, and this, start doing it. If you talk about sugar, you will not get the taste. Take the sugar, put it in your mouth. So I would say, come and join at least few classes and see how that helps you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabriji.
Thank you for those questions, beautiful questions.
Thank you again, Sabriji. Moving on to the last segment of today's program, You will now get to watch a Bharatnatyam dance performance by Smriti Govindan. This dance is choreographed by Palomi Pandit, and this particular dance performance is depicting the power of mantra to attain yoga. I will now ask Kanil Jain to introduce Palomi Pandit.
Thank you, Jagmohanji. It is again my great pleasure and a big honor to introduce Palomi Pandit and Rangashri Dances of India. Rangashri Dances of India specialize in the classical dance of Bharatanatyam and Indian folk dances. They work to sustain the spirit of India's dance traditions through authentic performances and educational efforts. Past 19 years, Rangashri has training centers in Duarte, Norwalk, Chino Hills, Riverside, and recently in Bakersfield. Rangashri's performing group regularly showcase the art at different festivals, universities for educational purposes, as well as their own productions and performances. Director Palomi Pandit is an accomplished dancer as an alumna of the Kalakshetra Institute in Chennai, India. Having grown up in Gujarat, a region of India known for its love of dancing, Palomi is an expert at various styles of folk dancing and has choreographed a number of award-winning dances. She has traveled extensively for performances around the world to bring awareness to Indian dance and culture. Let's all welcome Palomi Panditji.
Thank you very much for the beautiful introduction. Smriti will be performing Kirtanam, Shiva Panchakshara Stotram. Smriti Govindan, when many struggled, she kept her passion for dance going through the pandemic. She is my student for past 10 years and daughter of Shabriji. Shiva Stotram literally means letters in Sanskrit, and here it refers to the 5 holy letters, Nama Shivaya, and Stotra means hymn of praise. Shiva Panchaksharam Stotram praises Shiva, and each line of the Stotra starts with the first letter. For example, Na with Nagendra Haraya and Ma with Mandakini Salila. She with Shivaya Gauri, Va with Vasishta Kumbho, and Ya with Yagna Swarupaya. It is written by Adi Shankaracharya. These 5 letters in Stotram also represents 5 elements we believe human body is made of. We have incorporated these elements in the dance composition and introduced some beautiful poses of Shiva from 108 Karanas, or dancing position of Shiva. The music and Tirmanam are specially composed for my institute, Rangashri, and I have done dance composition. It is set in Ragamalika and Khanda Chaputalam. The last verse of says, of a Shiva Panchakshara says, whoever recites this Panchakshara hymn in praise of Lord Shiva, he is near Shiva always and will attain the abode of Shiva and enjoys his bliss. So I do want you to sing along and maybe all get a glimpse of Lord Shiva dancing. Thank you very much. Smriti Govindan.
Thank you.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Talang kutalang kuta talang kutalang kuta talang kutalang kukita tagatalang kukita tagatatikita tumta di ta jundu ta ting kinna tumta தி தை ஜொன்னு தத்திம் கிண்ண தொந்தை தத்தி தத்திம் ஜொன்னு தக்கதி தத்திம் திம்மி தத்தி தத்திம் ஜொன்னு தக்கதி தத்திம் திம்மி தக்கதி பூ கிட்டத்தக்கதிக்கும் தக்கதி பூ கிட்டத்தக்கதிக்கும் தக்கதி பூ கிட்டத்தக்கதிக்கும்
नागेन्द्रहाराय त्रिलोचनाय भस्माङ्गरागाय महेश्वराय नागेन्द्रहाराय त्रिलोचनाय भस्माङ्गरागाय महेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगम्बराय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय निरिग निरिग मदनि सा सनि रि स प म द प सनि रि स रि ग म द नि ग रि सा ग रि 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 द नि नि द म द सा नि र म ग रि नि सा नि ग रि 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 द नि द म द म ग म ग मन्दाकिनी सलिल चन्दन चर्चिताय नन्दीश्वर प्रमथनाथ महेश्वराय मन्दाकिनी सलिल चन्दन चर्चिताय नन्दीश्वर प्रमथनाथ महेश्वराय
nam di ta chum ge nam di ta chum ge nam di ta chum ge ta chum kita ta ka ta kita tum nam di ta chum ge nam di ta chum ge nam di ta chum ge ta chum kita ta ka ta kita tum nam di ta chum ge nam di ta chum ge nam di ta chum ge ta chum kita ta ka ta kita tum kita ta ka ta kita tum kita ta ka ta kita tum
मन्दार मुख्य बहुपुष्प सुपूजिताय तस्मै मकाराय नमः शिवाय तस्मै मकाराय नमः शिवाय पामगरि सदा पमगरि नीद पमगरि स गरि स नि गरि स नि द नि रि स नि रि स नि द नि स नि द प द स नि द स नि द प स नि प द नि शिवाय गौरी वदनाजवृन्द सूर्याय दक्षध्वरनाशकाय शिवाय गौरी वदनाजवृन्द सूर्याय दक्षध्वरनाशकाय श्रीनीलकण्ठाय वृषध्वजाय तस्मै शिखराय नमः शिवाय तस्मै शिखराय नमः शिवाय
धनु धनु तक्किட்ட ता ri ri na tum tat धनु धनु तक्किட்ட ता ri ri na tum tat धनु धनु तक्किட்ட ता ding ri na tum tat 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 ding ri na tum
वसिष्ठ कुम्भोद्भव गौतमार्य शिवसन्निधौ शिवलोकमवाप्नोति शिवेन सह मोदते
What a performance. Absolutely beautiful. Totally unedited, I must say. Thank you, Smriti, and your teacher, Palomi Pandit. As the saying goes, all good things do come to an end at some point. It is time to conclude today's Yatra program. Thank you for your participation. May you all benefit tremendously from today's presentations, teachings, and discussion. I certainly am a believer, and I hope the session today has touched you somewhere in a very positive and healing way. The Yatra journey continues on. We look forward to seeing you for Yatra 2023, very hopefully in person. Stay well and enjoy good health. Here is Sabriji for the concluding prayer.
Thank you, everyone. Humble gratitude to everybody. Let's conclude with the Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamida Purnat Purnamudashyade Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Have a wonderful day. See you all. Bye-bye.
Namaste. Bye-bye.
Namaskar, we say goodbye for now.